Hi, this is Vijay Bhambwani, and I'm back again to talk to you today about how the Saudi Aramco IPO actually does not really make too much sense. May I draw your attention to my video of 25th November 2019 when I said exactly the same thing, that the Saudi Aramco IPO size of $25 billion approximately did not really make too much sense. Here are the follow-up updates as we have them. The Saudis, after tapering down the size of the IPO, are likely to pay their investment bankers or iBankers $64 million in fund management fees or the IPO management fees. Compare it to Alibaba.com, which was also a $25 billion IPO, where Alibaba paid $300 million in investment bankers' fees. This basically tells you that the Saudi Aramco IPO is not the end of the fundraising spree that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia needs actually. And guess what? The Saudis have expressed their intent to tap the bond market starting as early as end of December or maybe even January 2020 and raise a whopping amount of money which could actually exceed the Saudi Aramco IPO ticket size itself. The bonds will basically tap 55% of the entire tranche for local investors and 45% of international investors by way of sukuk bonds and allied instruments. What does the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia do with this money? Where is it likely to go, and what it actually means for you as an investor in the Indian markets? We'll take a rational approach and see what it all actually boils down to. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has significantly stepped up its social welfare spending after the Arab Spring of 2012-13. There is a lot of disquiet, and as we all know, in the Middle East, the Shia-Sunni rivalry or the animosity is the stuff legends are made of. Now, the one way Saudi Arabia keeps things quiet is by throwing what is known as helicopter money or huge amount of social welfare spending. Now, this needs to go up perpetually for the simple reason that the more free money you give away, the more inflation you trigger. And the more inflation you trigger, the more inadequate your doleouts become. So, social welfare spending needs to step up. And to balance its budget, which is ballooning, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has actually cut a whole lot of projects and some amount of social welfare spending, which is why the Aramco IPO was launched itself. Now, since the Aramco IPO issue size was brought down from 200 billion to 100 billion and now to $25.6 billion, the amount of money that they've raised is simply not enough. Let us also not forget Prince Mohammed bin Salman's pet project of Vision 2030, which is artificial and man-made cities in the Red Sea area and the North Sea desert, which will basically diversify Saudi revenues away from oil into tourism and allied activities. Now, these projects are basically expected to cost well beyond $200 billion. So the $25.6 billion IPO in the Saudi Aramco case is simply not enough. Beyond that, I also mentioned in my past video that there's a whole lot of money, especially bonds that are due for repayment, of which $11.7 billion worth of bonds need refinancing or redemption in the calendar year 2020. Now, to refinance these bonds, the Saudis are coming back to the bond market and issuing fresh bonds. In addition to those $11.7 billion, the Saudis will approximately need between $20 to $25 billion in fresh money to basically make up for the shortfall of the Saudi Aramco IPO. Which brings me back to my question as to why the Saudi Aramco IPO does not really make sense. This is too little money coming in a little late. Remember, the Aramco IPO was actually slated for late 2017 or early 2018. The longer the IPO has taken to be actually launched, the deeper and bigger will be the Saudi Arabian shortfall of finances. So my guess is even this bond issue is simply not the end of the tunnel. There is going to be more money raising exercise. What does it mean for us as Indian investors? It simply means that Saudi Arabia will need to drive up oil prices. In addition to oil prices, the Saudi Aramco stock price on the Tadawul exchange. We've already seen the miracle of a 10% upper circuit on the Tadawul stock exchange on the very day Aramco was listed. The idea is to hit and stay above the $2 trillion market capitalization of Saudi Aramco. Basically, there's a whole lot of things you can do when your stock price is rising. It becomes easier for you to raise money. It becomes easier for you to pledge your stock and raise more money. So, in order to do that, the probability of the Saudis raising oil prices and trying to keep oil price higher becomes fairly high, which tells you that inflation is possibly going to go up. And if oil prices were to go up, you can basically bet that you will basically see there will be some amount of pressure mounting on inflation in India, which would translate to some amount of pressure on banking and interest sensitive sectors. And there would also be beneficiaries, of course. All companies that are basically making import substitute products would therefore benefit. Exporters would tend to benefit. So you have software, you have garment exporters, etc., whose stocks will basically outperform the market. And this is what you can hedge against rising crude oil prices. As and when we get updates, I would be doing more videos on this topic. But like I said, this is a cliffhanger. The Saudis are not stopping with this bond issue in 2020. There seems to be more to it than that meets the eye, and I'll be more than happy to do more updates on this subject. This is Vijay Bhambwani signing off. Not before reminding you, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please do not forget to click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and do not forget to share this video with your family and friends. I'm waiting for your comments to let me know what you think of this video and what other topics you want me to cover in my forthcoming videos. Goodbye for now.